What happens when you take something fun and then remove everything about it that's fun? In 2016, some of the world's most Japanese people got together and they said, hey, let's develop an app. Then they released it. How about that? Miitomo was Nintendo's first ever smartphone app. At the time, it was a pretty big deal. With the raging success that wasn't the Wii U, people started to feel that their favorite Asians were testing new waters, possibly thinking about becoming a third-party developer instead of making new consoles. Of course, that didn't happen, but we got this anyway. With how much money you saw getting sucked up by games like Candy Crush and Clash of Clans, these things must be able to net at least a couple $100 million, right? Well, kinda, I guess. I don't know. And neither did Nintendo because this app launched and died in under 2 years. So that's good. Today, with servers shut down, all we can do is rely on a fan server to keep us going. Like most, I wake up every morning, and if I'm not able to see what my ass-white Miis are up to, I'm blowing my brains out. I've already decided. So as to not waste time, let's just jump into whatever the fuck Miitomo was. But if you want to play this game today, you might find yourself snooping around for an APK on some fishy websites. If you're going to be doing that, you should play it safe with today's sponsor, Surfshark. Sellout Man 9000 is back and actually legitimate this time. Surfshark VPN is your ticket to peace of mind on the internet. When every website today is all about taking as much data of yours as possible, you'd want something to make you rest easy. Knowing that private information like your emails, your phone number, and even crucial info like your home address or favorite color are kept out of the hands of dastardly websites such as Microsoft.com. And if there's any content on streaming services blocked in your region, Surfshark can help you work around that. This year I've had the absolute displeasure of watching the Devils barely scrape their way to the playoffs on blackout nights when providers weren't streaming the game home, then lose 4-1 in the first round to Carolina, all thanks to Surfshark. And with 3,000 plus servers in over 100 countries, you'll always have access to everything you could need. Besides the VPN, Surfshark offers other services like antivirus and more to keep you from shitting yourself in incognito tabs. And with a 30-day money-back guarantee, there's no risk to trying it out. Go to the link in the description or use code Bearman3600 at checkout to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. Thank you, Surfshark, for sponsoring my mental decline. And how about we see if it can decline any lower, which I don't know is possible. Just like Tomodachi Life and Collection, the fun doesn't start until you create God's worst nightmare. You can't truly enjoy your experience with a Tomodachi game without a lookalike. The idea, of course, being that the game is made more engaging by your presence within this unbearably hollow world. And just like my last 2 ventures, I'm making this Mii the spitting image of yours truly. The Mii maker in this app is pretty solid. It's a shame it was only used in this failed app and nowhere else. It definitely beats the web browser version you can use on Nintendo's website. Now, while I make my lookalike, what is it exactly I'm about to do? I mean, in the first 2 games, it was all about watching your hideous creations form their own little lives and relationships, all the while you manipulate the world around them. It was your duty to make sure siblings don't get married and children don't date dream. How can gameplay as intricate as that fit into a free mobile game? Well, at first glance, it looks pretty cool actually. Here on Nintendo's website, they describe it as a social go-between. What the fuck does that even mean? But look at all these pictures. This looks sick. Customizing interiors and buying clothes at the shop, little minigames, a picture studio. This is just Tomodachi Life. That's awesome. Tomodachi Life on my phone, and it's free? Sign me up. So a lot of the setup's gonna look pretty familiar. You're gonna give this prick a name, a voice, a personality, a birthday, and decide whether or not he has a cock. Miis don't have last names in this game though, for some reason. One of my favorite things Nintendo can't get through their head is that I should not have to download some random data every single time I boot up a mobile game. At least I can spam a button for coins. It makes waiting that much more bearable. Welcome, welcome, here we are. This is your new home. Where is it? Fuck if I know. I didn't get to name my island when I first booted in. And actually, am I even on an island? I'm just in a room, and there's no windows. What kind of shit is this? The Mii starts to talk, and there's all these new effects that play when they say stuff.
Or I'm you. Same thing.
Like, why is there a laugh track? It feels like in Mario Maker when you place a sound effect. Can this game calm the fuck down? I'm in an empty room doing nothing. What about this warrants a laugh track, sparkles, and confetti? So our recently birthed friend gives us a little rundown of things. Miitomo is an app that lets you communicate with your friends via your Mii character. Bold of you to assume I have any friends. And also, what does that even mean? An app that lets me communicate with friends. What a unique concept. Wow, crazy to think we had no way of communicating with one another till Miitomo came along. Now, if I need to RSVP to a funeral, it can all be done right here on my phone, all with just Miitomo. So your lookalike will ask you questions, then share your answers with friends. Alright, sounds good. Oh, that was it. What? You answer questions and then trade answers with friends. Before we haul ass, your little miracle gives you a few bones to start you off. Wow, only $1 million? What a cheap bastard. I'm gonna take a wild shit in the dark and say this was modified by the fan server, but I can't imagine this will alter my experience since literally nothing new is added to be bought anymore. And that's it. Every day you open this garbage app and you get this little daily bonus. Wow, I guess I just gotta play this game every day now, because if I don't, I'll miss out on seasonal link hair that I'll never even use and forget I even have. Before you get a chance to do anything, who else shows up but, that's right, you guessed it, it's Erica from the Miitomo team. Classic Erica. She comes with a message, and it's from Nintendo. Wow, what a fucking sellout bitch. She's letting me know that if I add friends, I can send messages to them. Something immediately noticeable is the fact that she only says what's on screen. If a sentence runs over to the next speech bubble, it just gets cut off as if that's the end of the sentence.
You can send messages by tapping your Mii, or selecting the icon in your friend list. Now that
She's describing how to navigate a user interface I haven't even been given the chance to look at yet. Once she's gone, we finally get to start playing. It seems Suicide has something to say.
If you have any friends who might like Miitomo, you should invite them to play.
Wow, well, Erica from the Miitomo team did say that I should add friends, but she's a well-known lying bitch. But maybe she's right. Maybe it is worth adding some friends. You can share the link through all your favorite social media platforms, such as Line. I'm tempted to use Line, however, I'm gonna go old school and send it through email. If you're unlucky enough to be on the receiving end of what is the modern equivalent to receiving an invitation to a suicide bombing, you'll be treated with this friendly email from someone you think is your friend. Better act quick though. You only have 7 entire days to react. I know it's a tough decision, but you just gotta make up your mind. Well, while I wait for a friend to answer, let's see what we can do with just ourselves. You can also add a friend locally, like on Switch or 3DS, but for what is probably the most common way you should add friends in this game, it's weirdly hidden behind the share option. Granted, this game's UI changed over time, and what we're seeing for the most part is its final design. This is just fucking stupid. Miitomo wants to access my location, asking me personal questions about myself and then wanting my location. This is like giving Ted Kaczynski your P.O. box. Whenever you boot in, you get welcomed with the notification board. Though this fan server uses it to make update announcements, in the original release, you'd often see news about crossover events and exclusive outfits and even more dumb shit. Now finally, we get to play. We have 5 options here at the bottom, and I'll go into more detail about them as we go along. By tapping on your Mii, you can go into his room and get some more options. Looking around, it's awesome to see a Tomodachi game in HD, but there's just nothing to look at. There's 2 pillows on the floor. Is this his bed? He wants a bio written for him. I promise you, nobody cares at all anything about you. There is no need for you to have a bio, my sweet child. I'm gonna assume Nintendo had a long list of Miyamoto's favorite slurs that you couldn't use in your Miitomo posts, but that restriction is absent from this version, so feel free to be as racist as you want. I don't know how Nintendo thought anyone using this would keep it clean. Like, the only way this is fun is if you make all the Miis bigots. So now our friends can read our bio to learn more about us. A lot of little details from the Tomodachi games carry over here. A lot of very familiar looking activities. Every day you have a new question of the day. This is kind of what you're here for. Answer today's question and then see what all your friends said about it. That's the game. Yes, that's it. I'm not joking. That is the entire game. What if we took Miiverse, removed every aspect about it except one, and made it as slow and boring as possible? Truth be told, I have no problem with that idea. It's a very Nintendo idea. Get a laugh out of what your sick friends and their Miis have to say about the Israel-Palestine conflict. Everyone shares their thoughts on a family-friendly Nintendo-written topic. But that's it. You can add a picture if you feel like being different, but none of the extra fun stuff like in the other games. No little games or events, no island with stores and attractions, no friendships or Mii sex, and no funny interactions. Just answer a question and that's it. Doesn't that just sound like a blast? And just think, you can come back tomorrow and tell them what one of your favorite hobbies are. I can't think of anything I'd rather be doing. I really don't want to linger on this, but there's just nothing to move on to. This is it. I just told you the game. Well, there are a few small things, I guess. Remember on the website there were these pictures of stores in a photo mode? What about all those? Well, let's see. As far as answering questions goes, you can keep talking to your Mii to answer more and more questions. All of your answers can be seen by your friends. Another thing you can do with these pricks is give them catchphrases. It used to be that to give a Mii a catchphrase, you'd have to level them up or wait for them to ask you for one. Here they just give you everything at all times. It kind of takes some of the fun out of it. All the freedom you want with no build-up. Most of these greetings, by the way, are only seen by your friends, as you'll see later on. But even then, a lot of these only get used if you explicitly set them up to be. Pretty much the only thing your own Mii will say to you is its greeting. It's pretty lame. If your lookalike has no drip whatsoever, feel welcome to take it to the clothing store. Such a big variety of trash. Although some clothing items are seasonal or limited time only, who cares when there's already such a thrilling selection of ugly dog shit right from the get-go? Giving something to someone typically means you care about them in some regard, so I've decided to take away his clothes. He's such a dumb fucking loser. Well, I'm bored. What can we do to make things in this hollow world slightly less unbearable? Well, in the other games, usually I would just create a new me. That way there's another factor in everyone's decisions and relationships. So to the me maker we go. Your earliest Miis are typically the most interesting, right? Like you can have some real ones late in the game, but you'll always have a soft spot for those OGs. My concern here is that there already was just so little to do with this asswipe that how much more could I be doing with another one? Will they hang out? Can they do activities? Can they reproduce? I don't know, only one way to find out. By tapping the room list icon, we can hop over and meet our new neighbor, Cardboard. When in her room, we lose access to a lot of options. And when you go to interact with her, there's just 3 prompts. What the fuck is this? Is this seriously it? I just don't get it. How do you strip the Tomodachi games of literally everything that made them great and think it'll make a great mobile app? This world and the 2 pricks who live in it both fucking suck. I digged around a bit with Cardboard to see what I could do, and guess what I did? I answered more questions. What the hell kind of boring shit is this? I went back to Suicide to see if he had anything to say about his new neighbor, but nope. He's just acting like nothing happened, which, truthfully, is probably what he thinks. This fat chud has no windows and his door leads to 4 blank walls. If a million new Miis moved in, he wouldn't have a goddamn clue because he's trapped in his own personal hell, and so am I.
When I changed clothes earlier, I got my photo taken.
Wow, you look like an asshole. Here's like the one thing that feels like it came from a Tomodachi game. He changed clothes, so he took a picture called a Miifoto. I love that because he didn't even change clothes. I just stole from him the few tangible objects he was brought into this world with. Now he has literally nothing. You can choose to share the photo with friends, but lucky for your friends, this portion of the app doesn't seem to function anymore. The game just soft locks if you choose to share or save any Miifotos. At the very least, the text box perfectly covers this dickbag's face. Don't ever touch the Miifotos, you'll always just end up getting stuck. Why does he enter the room every time I open the app? Where the hell is he going to? Let's check out another option here in our lookalikes room. Welcome to Candy Drop. All the fun of a Plinko machine, apparently. Once a day, you get a free drop. You can either win a game ticket or a stub. If you get 10 stubs, you can trade them in for a game ticket. What's a game ticket? You'll see in like 4 minutes probably. Plinko is fun, so I guess it's just fun to watch, but like, I could be doom scrolling right now. This is the most interesting thing that has happened in this game since the coin button on the loading screen. After you play, that's it. Wow, if only words could describe the intense fulfillment I'm experiencing right now. I feel like I just bought a house. That's how incredible this whole experience is. Watching these do nothing feels like buying a house. I've decided to throw another me into the mix because I just refuse to believe they serve no purpose. They must be able to interact with each other, right? They wouldn't just let you make me so they can stand around all day doing nothing. Maybe I just have to wait a bit. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'll put the game down and come back tomorrow. Hopefully something will have happened. Literally nothing has happened. I really just can't stand this shit. I went in knowing this whole experience was gonna suck ass, but this is just unbearable. Question of the day. Wow, so much fun. I mean, seriously, what the fuck? Who was playing this shit? When this game came out in 2016, I remember checking it out and then losing interest after like 3 days. There's nothing to draw you back in once you close the app. And although the Miiverse-like threads you see on posts and answers to questions used to be a lot more bubbling back when the official servers were still up, that interactivity just did very little. Once again, obviously, that social interactivity is the whole point here. But what even is it in the first place? A comment on my response? I don't need to hear your boring ass shit comment. Especially when Nintendo would have censored anything actually funny I could say. Just like Tomodachi Life, you're not supposed to sit here for a few hours. You're supposed to check in, see how everyone's doing, create an abomination, then leave. But this is just like, what? I'm checking in, sure. But what am I even checking for? Because my friend said dogs are his favorite animal? Who cares? Maybe I'm overreacting, so let's find out for ourselves. Does this game actually get better when you make a new friend? Well, after sending that invitation out over line, I get my first friend. All you gotta do is accept, and bam, now I can visit my new pal. And you're never gonna believe what I can do when I go visit him. Yep, that's right. Answer fucking questions. Why in the good name of God do these Miis want to know so much niche information about me? It's just the absolute worst. It really is.
Their current chapter drug addiction are.
The fuck even was that? This bizarre breathing sound happens sometimes when you're prompted to answer a question. I have no clue why. It's starting to feel like a government phishing program. This is like the most fun-looking way of getting me to volunteer personal information to a foreign company. When visiting a friend, you get access to their entire roster of inbreds. Pick your favorite. You can pop in and say hi to all of them. But guess what you're gonna do once you stop by? That's right, nothing. You can't do anything. You can tap on them to hear one of their greetings, but other than that, you're just watching the wildlife. see what their room looks like and what clothes they have, and you can even buy their clothes if you like them. But other than that, there is actually nothing going on here. There's a lot of characters here, and even some familiar looking faces. I'm a bit jealous to tell you the truth. And if you are too, no need to worry at all. You can take someone's Mii and make it move into your apartment. It's weird because they still exist in their creator's world. They just clone them, I guess, but their clothes don't come over with them. You have to re-buy them all. When making Miis or stealing them, you're always given the option to keep them private. So if you don't want other people knowing about the sick freaks you have roaming the hallways, Nintendo's got you covered. When you find the strength to pull yourself away from these interesting asshole cunts, you may decide to reroute your attention to the shop. Yes, that's right, the shop. Now, earlier we bought some clothes through our Mii, but if you want to just browse, you can check out the shop tab. Here you can buy some clothes, new interiors for your Mii's apartments, and you can see all different kinds of promotional items. Obviously, they don't cycle through new items anymore, but often there would be crossover events with recently released Nintendo games like Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey. If a fit looks interesting to you, then hop in and test your luck. Let me tell you something I hate. I hate it when a theme or collection is split up into multiple pieces you all have to acquire separately. Why the fuck do games do that? This is what made me not bother with Badge Arcade on the 3DS. Yes, that looks really cool, but I'm not sitting here wasting time and money to try to piece together this fragmented collection of digital content more meaningless than a box of condoms in Steve Buscemi's glove box. How about this? How about I give you like $2 and then I get all of them? How does that sound? If you really want a complete set, you're gonna be here for a while. Remember those game tickets I told you about? Yeah, I don't either, but this is where you would use them. Typically, you would use the money you get from interacting with Miis and dish out 100 bones to play. But if you got a game ticket or enough stubs to trade in for one, then you can save yourself the money. While a round bulb thing moves left and right at the top of the screen, all you can do is watch as a Mii helplessly fights for their life. Why am I dropping my Miis? They ran out of candy and had to use something else of equal value? I really don't care that I'm dropping Miis instead here, but listening to them scream and then just have them submit to a pile of bodies at the bottom is just disturbing. If you want a complete set, just keep going and going and going. Time that could be spent starting a forest fire and you're wasting it here in Miitomo. There's several different Plinko machines you can play with, and this is actually probably the most fun thing in this game so far, and it barely even constitutes as being fun. Like, if you could assign a value to the amount of fun you get out of being shot, that's around how much fun you're gonna have with this. Let's take a look at another major mechanic this game has to offer. Sending messages. If you have any friends, you can send one of your Miis over to their apartment to deliver a message. Could you imagine making plans or something like this? Because there is no prompt or anything, you just type something in to say. So what percentage of people using this feature are just gonna spam every no-no word in the book to random people? When you finish writing your death threat and send your Mii off, just like the Tomodachi games, depending on the speed you assign to them when creating their personality, they slowly walk out of the room towards the 1 square foot hallway. So what goes on now? Their room is just empty. If you're feeling impatient, you can call them back prematurely, but in reality, the message gets delivered to the other person regardless. I guess them staying out is a fun way to make it feel like they really left and are going to pay someone a visit. But they come back after a few minutes anyway, regardless of anything you or the recipient does. And what does that look like? Well, when your friend goes to open the app, they'll be treated to your little piss boy having a conversation with their lookalike. This is the only interaction Miis have with each other in this game. It's so sad. Like this social app about socializing barely has any physical socialization between Miis. Once you're ready to interrupt them, the Mii greets you, then delivers their message. Once you hear it, you can choose to see your message history with them, send a reply, or just stop. Once you make up your mind, the Mii says their farewells. Wow, that was really exciting. What a fat fucking joke this game is. It is worth mentioning though that in the original game, you could walk into your Mii having a conversation with a friend even if that person didn't send you a message. But even when that does happen, they just leave after telling you something that their lookalike said. At least that's some kind of unprovoked Mii interaction, but they don't form relationships or anything, so it really is just to make it seem more lively, which it does a poor job of doing already and barely is anyway. The only other thing to say about this is once you hear a message, the Mii just goes. Like you interrupt their conversation, they present to you their message in a blank and monotone voice with whatever expression your friend chose, and then they just leave. Like what? What the fuck kind of visit is that? If you send out multiple Miis at once, or your friend just happens to have multiple messages from different people, then the Miis just come in one after the other as if there's a line outside the door and they're all taking turns coming in. If you have an asshole friend who loves spamming you with unfunny garbage, you could have a real nightmare on your hands. Remember earlier I talked about Miifotos? You're always given the option to attach Miifotos to things, but with the state this game is in today, the app just soft locks, so sadly you can't share any of your Mii porn with your friends. But if you open the post menu, you can still access the option to create one. You still can't share or save them, but at least you can still have all the fun of the Miifoto studio in your hands. Looks familiar, huh? You can move them around, pose them, give them expressions, add text, a background, stickers, colors, the whole 9 yards. I think, genuinely, you can have a lot of fun here. This photo studio is leagues ahead of Tomodachi Life's in terms of customization, so be sure to take advantage of it and show off to the world that creative bone you keep under your femur. This little photo studio just oozes that stupid dumb fun that the Tomodachi games are all about, so it's sad to see that 99% of the Tomodachi charm is coming from the photo mode. I like making photos, but I feel like some people are just missing. Like, pictures are more fun when you can be creative with a wide variety of subjects, so why not utilize another way of getting Miis to move in? QR codes. If you have a Miis QR code handy, scan it, and just like that, you have a new neighbor. If you have an island in Tomodachi Life, you can even move those Miis over with their identity preserved. When importing Miis from Tomodachi Life, along with their body comes their voice, birthday, personality, and catchphrases, which is actually pretty cool. Unfortunately, and obviously though, their relationships, food preference, or belongings won't be imported with them because they just don't exist in this game. With more and more Miis here with us, there's even more fun to be had in the photo studio. You know, I can understand a lot of this game's shortcomings. I can see that a free mobile app isn't going to have the depth of favorite foods and activities and donations and shops and yada yada yada, but the lack of any interaction between Miis whatsoever is just truly depressing. Like, to import all these Miis with different personalities and preference just for them to be locked up in a room seems like such a waste of potential. The only relationships you're going to find these Miis in are the fictional ones you insinuate through your creations in the photo gallery. Such a waste. Sadly, we're nearing the end of the rope here. There's not really much else to see. I think I'm going to give it one more day, and maybe, just maybe, this game will have something that just blows my mind away. Nothing in this game is a reason to live. I keep checking in on everyone, and I look at them, and I'm like, yay, I get to have a fun interaction with them, and then you tap on them, and it's always just like, want to answer a question? No, I really don't actually. I'm sick and tired of answering your goddamn questions all the fucking time. You don't care how I answer those questions, and I don't care that you're alive. An unspoken mutual agreement for the both of us to fuck off for the rest of our lives. I would normally do some kind of highlight reel before wrapping up this kind of garbage, but truthfully, there's about just as much variety in this game as there are bodies behind my local Dunkin' Donuts, which is 4 by the way.
I love spleen. Nice spleen.
Fuck you, you fat piece of shit. I'm miserable. Can ya send me? I plan on dying today.
Go fuck yourself with your threats. I know where you live, cunt.
Kill me.
I'm pissed, puppy. Suicide sent me.
This is so true. Kill yourself.
Would you like to hear my opinion of minorities?
That's so sick. Please kill yourself.
Minors.
Where the white people at? I have a knife. Later. Wow, man, that's so cool. Kill yourself.
Where are your hands? Flolly. I am delivering the bones.
Oh God, please God, send me to the end. Oh God.
Fucking up.
Can I borrow your rib cage?
Well, sadly, that's everything. That's what you can do with your Miis. That's it. There really is not much to say here. It's a pretty barren place. Even though I not only hate them, but also have no opportunity to truly know them, for what it's worth, these Miis are all I got. And it would be wrong of me to hog them all in my little world, so why not share them with the rest of God's children? Welcome to Sidekick Central, a place to share and discover new Miis with the other sickos playing this shit. Essentially, it functions as this game's equivalent to the Check Me Out channel. It's fun to scroll through and see other people's mistakes, but you can only filter by trending. Why are there no other filters? How would what's trending be determined if the only Miis you can see are the ones that are trending? Something that is cool that I'll give credit to is that if you see a cool outfit, you can purchase it directly from Sidekick Central. Well, that's all. But is there anything missing? Is there something that I just can't see now that the game's been discontinued? Well, no, there really isn't. There were some events at times, but those events were barely even events. The only semi-documented event from this game is the Everybody Answers event. From what I can tell and remember, it was just one question that everyone got, and the whole user base got to share answers with everyone instead of just going back and forth with a friend. My Nintendo account integration was a major part of this game's release, but boy oh boy if it barely did anything. You could earn Miitomo coins that would act the same as the platinum points on the My Nintendo website and could be spent on digital rewards in lieu of them. You could have also use them to buy in-game exclusive clothes and interiors. These coins could be earned by completing missions from the My Nintendo website. What were these missions? Well, it usually would just boil down to very basic tasks, like send a friend a message or buy some new clothes. There was nothing crazy you would be sent doing. Linking the account also lets you save your game data to the cloud instead of just saving locally, along with allowing you to find Twitter and Facebook mutuals to send friend requests to. But is that really it? Is there just actually no point to this beyond doing the same thing over and over again just because it's mildly entertaining? Well, yeah, actually there was one thing, and that, of course, was leveling up. Yes, the same way your Miis level up in Tomodachi Life, you could do that here, but only with your lookalike. All the other Miis are left out from leveling up. Back when the game was still supported, there were two different statuses you could level up: your popularity level and your style level. Though it was removed from the home screen UI, this leveling up system still exists within the game, albeit pretty hidden. When you send a message, react to posts, and receive likes from friends, you get experience points. The more friends you have, the more interacting you do, the more experience you get. Over time, you would have a crown that slowly grows every 5 levels, but for every other level that isn't a multiple of 5, you would just get a game ticket. Pretty lame. What does this whole thing look like? Well, your Mii will have something to tell you and then inform you that you have a new title. Every level is accompanied by some kind of title. Of course, you'd want to impress your friends by showing off your level, but if I ever saw someone with a level 50 crown, I would probably just bully them for being a loser. Then there's the style level, which is literally the exact same thing, but you only get experience from buying and changing outfits. The leveling up system is the exact same, but the titles you receive with each level are just clothes themed. Of the two, the popularity level is the only one that still works. This was the only game design incentive to do anything pretty much. As far as currency in this game goes, I talked about game tickets and stubs, and obviously the coins are how you buy things. But if you just don't got enough coins to buy something, you could always use your real money. Yes, there you go. There's the mobile game. Buying coins. Obviously you can't anymore, but 9 years ago, microtransactions were always an option. When it comes to the candy, originally, candy was used as a currency to unlock people's answers to questions. Yeah, unlock an answer. Imagine spending your last piece of candy to see some guy's favorite color. And then it's just a slur. That would have been fun. But after the candy drop update, this system was removed, so the answers were always shown. Wow. Other than that, that's it. That's all. That was the Miitomo experience. Genuinely. And I know this, despite my experience with it for this video. This game was much more interesting back when the servers were still up. When you had 100 friends who were all posting dumb pictures and answering stupid questions, all wearing weird clothes and putting up posters on their walls. Even if giving them a personality does literally nothing, it did actually give some kind of life to this inarguably empty world. But what is just absolutely the reality of all this is that this game was Nintendo's first mobile game, and it wasn't great. It was okay. The charm was there, but the execution was questionable. It just didn't work all too well. And obviously, Nintendo felt the same way when they discontinued it in May of 2018. The original Tomodachi team worked on this game, and with another game on the horizon coming out next year, you can only hope that the devs leave what didn't work behind them. I absolutely love these games more than anyone, and grew up spending years on my island and its inhabitants. So when I saw this was coming out, it was exciting, but I would be lying if I said it didn't disappoint. With Living the Dream on the way, I just don't have the faith in me. To me, this game looks so plain and blah, and I have no idea how Nintendo made a game trailer with graphics as terrible looking as this with frame rates that are so bad, it's like, how did they even show this? I'll save my criticism, but when I put this game up to this game, up to this game, all I see is what happens when you suck the soul out of an IP and try spending as little money as possible making it look good. But we'll just have to wait and see. All in all, if you want to play a Tomodachi game, here you go. This is all you need, although you may not be able to get your hands on it. Jesus Christ, when did this game get so fucking expensive? Well, if you don't got the bones for it, there's gotta be some other way to play it, right? Some other way. Wonder what that way could be. There's gotta be some way for you to play this game on your 3DS without spending all that money. Wow, how could you do that? If you like Miis and hate yourself, these games are great. But this one's just not. It was mid at best when it was still supported, and it barely scrapes unbearable now that it's ended. You can have some amount of fun dicking around, but any time you could spend here is just time you could spend here. This game is remembered by Nintendo in literally no way, shape, or form. At some point in 2017, your Mii in Super Mario Run could wear its clothes from Miitomo in-game, but that's as far as it ever went. Very little documentation of this game exists, and it's no longer available to be re-downloaded from either app store, even if you had it when it was available. It's practically wiped from Nintendo's history. This game is mid as fuck, and that's all it's going to be remembered as. I give this game 4 potato famines out of 10. I'm Bearman, and I've been wasting your time. Thanks for watching.
So, what's your favorite dead meme? Kill yourself. I agree.